So it's been a minute. Welcome to Strong Assumptions for all you regular viewers, which are very few and probably not many at all. I am hopefully going to work on this rear quarter today. Finally got, they had a damaged driver's side rear quarter that I hammered the dents out of. And I got a outer fender well and that little bottom side skirt. So I'm hoping, plus the rockers, and the doors, and all that. So I'm hoping we can get a good part of that done today. I haven't been doing nothing. While waiting for that to come in, which has been a little time consuming, I've been working on the front suspension some more. Got it painted, restored. I just did simple black. I'll show you what I did here. Got the discs that came on the vehicle. They were quite rusty, so I had them bead blasted and machined at the machine shop here. Pulled the calipers apart, cleaned them all up. In the process, ended up stabbing myself while cleaning the ridge that holds this rubber seal on the inside. There's a single piston here and dual pistons on this side. They had a sale for steel braided lines, so I put those on there with the wire connection. This is just a single circuit system, not the dual. But I think it turned out all right. I ended up having to buy the rear backer. Didn't have any of those. Anyway, I sprayed that high heat engine enamel. Got that all done. Replaced all the bearings. As you can see, I ended up just using a race seating kit from Princess Auto and modified it to work. There was one race that I couldn't get out with the kit, so I ended up just picking up punch from Silverado here in Lethbridge and got that banged out. Honestly, they weren't too bad. It looked like the guy previous maybe put some new races in and bearings, but I didn't want to trust them, so I popped them all out, put new bearings in, re-greased everything, did the castle nut on the end, and followed the manual. I've got the mechanics manual plus a Haynes manual. Basically, you fill the thing up with grease and bang that cap back on it, and you're good to go. Now, the other stuff, I used my world's cheapest media blasting cabinet to blast the upper A-arms, the lower A-arms, sprayed them in flat black, and then I used one of those turbo enamel Rust-Oleum cans and sprayed the oh frick, I forgot the name of it again. Anyway, sprayed that enamel. Nothing fancy. Reused the shocks that were fresh and new, and I still have to go through and torque all the nuts on here, but yeah, looks all right, I think. I bought a bunch of extra shims, so I'm gonna get the upper A-arm, use the upper A-arm shims to get everything aligned. I got polyurethane bushings from VP Autosports. We'll see if they squeak like crazy or not. I used polyurethane specific grease, so hopefully that'll minimize it, but they do have a tendency to squeak like crazy. Getting these bushings out this is kind of a pain in the butt. I ended up having to freeze these in the freezer, and after cleaning the inner hole out with like a steel brush and even a little sandpaper just to make sure all the rust was out of it, I was able to bang those in, started them anyway, and then I used a little homemade bushing puller. Basically, it's just super strong thread, the suspension type thread with the washer on it and the appropriate size socket and a washer. And I use that to pull the bushings out and push the bushings back in. Worked quite well, and it was cheap. Anyway, I got a whole whack of thread still, so I can use it for other things as well. So that was taken care of. All those bushings are fresh, new, brand new. I did the ball joints new as well. Calipers rebuilt. Oh, and the kit from VP Autosports, I think. Or was it CVR? I can't remember. I got brake parts possibly from CVR because it was a sale. Brake parts from CVR. The caliper rebuild kit actually did include there's a little rubber gasket that goes in between these two halves. And it came with the kit, whereas it says in the description that it does not. So I've got extra seals, but anyway. Yeah, turned out pretty good. I'm gonna have to use brand new hardware with nylock nuts, and the springs I ordered from IPD. So they're the sport lowering springs. And I also ordered the bigger sway bar that is here, and I'll be putting that on probably after I paint the engine bay, but I got to clean this all up and stuff. But I was thinking, I can paint the engine bay, and then I can start doing other things like getting the stuff mounted in there. I do have a rebuild kit for the master cylinder. That's over here. So I got that cleaned up and sprayed. I know it doesn't need to be sprayed. It was never sprayed originally, but I don't know, it was kind of rusty and it looks better. But there's the rebuild kit for that. So I'll get to that after I have somewhere to mount it when it's done. Now, as far as color goes, I did some experimenting. I'm gonna try to keep this paint simple, and I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of overspray all over, bikes and snowboards and other things in here. So what I'm going to do, and people will gawk, I'm sure, but I've got John Deere green, farm implement paint, and black Krylon from the UFA, pretty cheap, and some reducer. So I used a paint mixing cup and tested a few ratios to figure out what color, or the color that needs to be done to match the original dark green. So what I found out, this one here is 3-to-1, and you can see it's way too light. So 3 green to 1 black, and then 1 reducer. This is 1-to-1, and you can see still a little too light. But 1-to-1.5 totally disappears in there. So that's 1 green to 1.5 black farm implement paint. Gives me that perfect dark green tone. And just out of interest, I also blobbed a bunch right there. And you can see this is the original color on the drip rail. And that's the mix. And I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get much closer than that. And to be honest, because the point of this car is not to make a perfect restoration, so to speak. I want something drivable that I'm not going to worry about scratching. I'm going to do the paint with that farm implement stuff at that mix. I'm first going to do a red oxide primer,
Then I'm going to put that mix over the top, and I'm going to sand it smooth. And if I go through some of the green into the red, don't care. Haven't decided if I'm going to do a wipe on poly or a clear coat or something, maybe. But honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Anyway, that's my intentions. So it's raining a bunch. So today I can't really do the other project I'm working on, which is a garage in the backyard. I'll maybe go walk around there because I'm also assuming I'm a carpenter, not only a car fabricator. I do have some framing experience. I built houses for a few years up in Edmonton. So I got a buddy that's in the industry that's kind of helping me out here and there so I don't go too far off the rails. But yeah, it's been good. We got things framed up. We're just waiting for the rain to subside so we can get the roof sheeted and then start tightening everything up, closing it up. My wife has been kind enough to say that I can put a car in there. Unfortunately, I cannot move all vehicle operations into there because she needs it for a gym. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to be mostly a gym with storage for one vehicle. But that is great because that means I have the space here to work on this car for body work and whatnot. And then I'll have my third bay through here available for engine restoration, transmission rebuild, and any other little things. The rear axle I got to drop and rebuild that as well, and repaint and do change the springs and all that. So yeah, there is space. Will be nice. It's just that it has taken some time away from working on this car. That's why it's been such a bit a minute. So yeah, this is part one, I guess. I'll do another video and show kind of what I get accomplished today. Hopefully I can get most of this rear quarter taken care of. Haven't decided if I'm going to cut all the spot welds and replace the whole thing, or possibly just cut along the top here and then weld it in from that edge. Haven't decided. So I might start looking at spot welds and deciding from there. But as I said, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for better. And luckily this car's bad enough that better is pretty easy to achieve. So anyway, I'll show you what I get done at the end. Part 2 coming. Okay.